Mark Wallace struck his second 100 in 2 days, but he was outshone by Chris Dent as Gloucestershire won for the second time in this season's Yorkshire Bank 40 competition, defeating Glamorgan by just 7 runs at the Swalex Stadium in Cardiff. Put in, the visitors lost Hamish Marshall on a bad day to be a Kiwi in the 3rd over as he chipped Graham Wagg to Will Owen at mid-on. As it turned out, it was only a minor setback for the Gloucesters, whose captain Mike Klinger maintained his good run of recent form with some neat strokes early on. On what looked like a belter of a pitch, the Australians started to make hay as 53 runs came off the first 10 overs. Dent began his immense innings rather slowly. It took him to the 13th over of the innings to find the boundary rope for only the second time, but he then started to push on as he approached the highest score of his one-day career, which, until this memorable day, stood at only 36. After 14 overs, Gloucestershire had 85 runs on the board, but had also lost Klinger for 40. He got a leading edge off Dean Koska to feed Wagg a simple catch in the covers. It was at this stage that Dent really started to pick up the pace in partnership with Alex Gidman. This was only the 16th match of Dent's one-day career, and it was to turn out to be a day he will certainly never forget. Interestingly, it came on the birthday of one of his county's more celebrated hitters, Gilbert Jessup. The Croucher, as he was known, used to give the ball a real tonk back in the late 19th century. With shots like these, Dent brought up his own 50 off 39 balls. Gidman moved patiently into double figures, allowing Dent to do the majority of the scoring until the former captain drove his former county teammate Marcus North back over his head for a 6. Will Bragg was given the ball for the 24th over and immediately claimed the first wicket of his one-day career, Gidman hitting him to Owen to depart at 141 for 3, 423. Bragg only bowled 2 overs and his first was a wicket maiden. Gloucestershire then made steady progress in reaching 178 for 3 with 10 overs to go. Dent then pulled Allenby over the ropes to go to his brilliant 100, which had been made from only 89 deliveries. Benny Howell also had a go and drove Koska for a 6, before he fell in the 35th over for 26, chasing a wide ball from Wagg and nicking off. Gloucestershire went crazy after that as they smashed 66 runs off the final 5 overs. The 36th over, delivered by Jim Allenby, was particularly expensive. It went for 21 runs, with Dent now at his explosive best, producing some stunning cricket shots with his eye well set. He ended on 151 not out off only 113 balls, as Gloucestershire, who lost hard-hitting James Fuller before the close, finished on a very impressive 288 for 5, 110 runs coming off the last 10 overs. That meant that Glamorgan had to go at more than 7 runs and over from the start. They got off to a terrible beginning, with Bragg going LBW to Fuller to the second ball of their reply. Fuller then bowled Chris Cook at the start of the 5th over, before North was run out by Howell's direct hit from cover, which left Glamorgan on 27 for 3 after 7 overs. The result already appeared to be a foregone conclusion, but Wallace, fresh from his Championship 100 completed on Saturday against Essex, had certainly not given up yet. He'd now been joined by Allenby, and they had no other option but to put bat to ball, something they did to very good effect. Both hit 6s in successive overs as the rate started to climb. Allenby took his off Ed Young, while Wallace used his to get to his 50 off David Payne. That had occupied 50 balls, but was just the start for the informed Glamorgan captain. Howell then ended the dangerous partnership as Allenby on 39 mistimed a drive and placed the ball into the hands of Klinger. 67 runs now came off the next 10.5 overs, with Murray Goodwin supporting Wallace admirably. This was an important partnership too, as it ensured that there were wickets in hand for the Welshman to give an almighty go in the last 10 overs. By the time they got there, the target was exactly 100. Goodwin holed out off Liam Norwell at the start of the 31st over, but all that did was bring in Wagg, who played superbly. His alliance with Wallace almost took his side to the unlikeliest of victories given their start. Wagg hit his 4th ball over the ropes and didn't look back. With some wonderful clean hitting, he took a 6 off each of the next 3 overs, as his side kept on hitting a double-figure score off each, which brought the target required down to 51 off the final 5 overs. Wallace then matched Dent by making his 100. It arrived off his 98th delivery, while Wagg kept on swinging from the hip. Now 25 were wanted off the last 2 overs, but Fuller, showing it wasn't all bad news on this day for those from New Zealand, conceded only 8 runs off the penultimate over. And he picked up the crucial wicket of Wag, who found Marshall in the deep to depart for a quite brilliant 31 ball 54. Glamorgan were, however, left with too much to do. Wallace could only find 1 boundary in the last over, and that meant his side fell short by 7 runs, ending their innings on 281 for 6, with Wallace contributing 118 off 1 ball less than Dent had needed for his 151. The result means that both sides sit on 5 points from 4 games, a point behind Group C leaders Somerset, who also have a game in hand.